Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to our respected lecturers and fellow students. To begin with, today we are examining a question that is both practical and urgent in Malaysian student education. Should a teacher in Malaysia rely on AI in classroom, or could such a reliance harm student learning and the professional role of a teacher? AI is already present in classroom. Students use it for writing and research. Meanwhile, teachers experiment with it for a lesson planning. Therefore, the issue is no longer whether AI exists, but how far reliance should go. Firstly, we will examine whether teachers should rely on AI. Secondly, we will discuss whether AI could harm student learning. Finally, we will consider whether AI may affect the teacher professional role. Our discussion will be grounded in research from UKM, OPSI, UNIMAS, UNESCO, and OECD, and a global scholar. Let us begin.
Sir Adam, when we use the term real life, we mean structure and consistent integration into lesson planning, assessment support, and instructional design. In your view, should Malaysian teachers move toward that level of reliance?
Thank you. First of all, I believe teachers in Malaysia may rely on AI, but only under professional supervision. According to the OECD Digital Education Outlook 2021, AI system can assist with formative assessment and identify learning gaps efficiently. This is especially useful in large classrooms. Furthermore, McKinsey 2023 reports that AI can reduce repetitive administration tasks in education, allowing teachers to focus more on mentoring. Research from the Journal of Management and Social Science at UKM shows that digital tools can strengthen self-directed learning when implemented systematically. The study highlights that teachers remain central figure but shift toward guiding interpretation rather than merely delivering information. However, Chiwan Ahmad et al. 2025 from UNIMAS note that teachers' readiness in Malaysia varies significantly. Without training, reliance may become dependency. Therefore, teachers should rely on AI only when there are clear guidelines, training, and oversight.
However, let me probe further. If teachers frequently consult AI for lesson structure, could their professional creativity slowly align with algorithmic logic? Where is the boundary between structure, reliance, and unhealthy dependence?
That is precisely the concern. While AI can improve efficiency, nevertheless, UNESCO 2021 recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence stresses the importance of preserving human agency. Selwyn 2019 warns that digital technologies can gradually reshape professional practice without education realizing it. Moreover, Holmes et al. 2022 cautions that over-automation may reduce professional autonomy if governance is weak. Therefore, reliance must be cautious and gradual.
In summary, teachers in Malaysia may rely on AI, but only under structured supervision, strong training, and clear ethical governance. Now, let us move to the second question. Sir Ashraf, beyond academic dishonesty, could reliance on AI reduce intellectual effort or change long-term learning habits?
Thank you. Yes, I believe the risk is real and it goes beyond plagiarism. First of all, learning is not simply about getting the correct answer. It's about the cognitive process that leads to that answer. When students engage deeply with a problem, they analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information. That mental struggle builds durable understanding. However, if students rely heavily on AI-generated instant explanations, they may bypass that struggle. Education psychology research consistently show that effortful, retrieval, and productive struggle strengthen memory and conceptual mastery. If AI remove friction entirely, the depth of processing may decrease. Furthermore, AI systems often provide concise summaries. While these summaries are efficient, efficiency does not always equal comprehension. Students may read an AI-generated explanation and feel confident, but that confidence may be superficial. The UPSI GPAK study highlights that a technology integration without structured, ethical, and cognitive guidance can influence students' discipline and learning attitudes. Applied to AI, this suggests that convenience may slowly replace perseverance. In addition, UNESCO's 2023 guidance for generative AI in education warns that students must develop AI literacy. Without the ability to question outputs critically, students may treat AI as an unquestionable authority. There's also another concern. AI system generates a response based on pattern in large data sets. They do not truly understand concept. If students begin to see AI response as definitive, They may lose the habit of questioning, source analyzing bias, or evaluating accuracy. Over time, this may weaken epistemic judgment. Therefore, my position is that AI can harm students' learning if it becomes a substitute for thinking rather than a tool for reflection.
You mentioned habit formation. Are you suggesting that frequent exposure to AI could reshape how Malaysian students approach learning itself?
Learning habits are shaped by repeated behavior. If students repeatedly use AI as the step rather than the last step, their mindset may shift from exploration to delegation. This is not about intelligence, it is about habit formation. Holmes et al. 2022 highlight that AI integration must avoid encouraging passive consumptions. When technology delivers answer quickly, students may become consumers of output instead of producers of ideas. Moreover, Selwyn 2019 argued that digital tools can subtly influence expectation of speed and convenience in education. If speed becomes the norm, patience may decline. That is why supervision and clear boundaries are critical.
I agree that habit formation is important. However, I believe AI can also reshape habits positively if structured correctly. Lakin et al. 2016 described AI as an intelligent tutor capable to providing adaptive feedback that supports individual learning pace. In large classrooms, teachers may not always have the time to give personalized feedback to every student. AI can help bridge that gap. Furthermore, the OECD 2023 suggests that AI tools can enhance metacognition when used comparison tools rather than answer generators. For example, teachers can design tasks where students must first attempt a solution independently. Second, compare it with AI output. Next, identify difference and reflect on why differences occur. In the structure, AI does not replace thinking, it stimulates evaluation. Research from the UKM journal also supports structured digital integration combined with reflection. The key factor is teacher guidance. Therefore, AI does not inherently harm learning. It becomes harmful only when students are allowed to rely on it without reflection.
Based on this discussion, AI can harm student learning if it replace independent effort and reflection. However, under structured supervision, it may strengthen critical thinking, metacognitive awareness. Now, let us examine the final dimension. Sir Ashraf, could reliance on AI weaken teacher authority and professional judgment?
Yes, I believe it could, particularly if reliance becomes excessive or uncritical. Teaching is not only about transmitting knowledge, it involves professional judgment, moral guidance, and contextual interpretation. Teachers evaluate students not only based on technical accuracy, but also on efforts, improvement, participation, and individual circumstances. AI systems operate based on patterns and probabilities. They analyze data but do not fully understand context. If teachers begin to depend heavily on AI-generated grading suggestion or feedback templates, there is a possibility that their independent judgment may gradually shift. This shift may not be obvious at first. Teachers may still receive AI outputs. However, over time, repeat exposure to algorithmic suggestion may influence how teachers frame evaluation criteria. UNESCO 2021 recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence emphasizes the importance of preserving human agency in high-stakes decision-making. In education, assessment and evaluation are fairly high-stakes responsibilities. If teachers rely too frequently on AI-generated structures for lesson planning or feedback, their professional creativity may become constrained by the system's logics. Selwyn 2019 argues that digital technologies can subtly reshape professional practice through normalization. In addition, Holmes et al. 2022 caution that automation in education risks reducing teachings to measurable outputs rather than holistic development. Therefore, yes, AI can weaken teachers' authority if it shifts professional judgment from human reflection to algorithmic dependence.
I acknowledge that risk. However, I do not believe that AI necessarily weakens teacher authority. Professional authority is rooted in decision making, accountability, and ethical responsibility. As long as teachers remain the final decision makers, authority remains intact. McKinsey 2023 suggests that AI can reduce repetitive administrative work in education. This may include generating draft feedback or analyzing performance trends. If AI handles routine tasks, teachers can devote more time to mentoring and guiding students. Furthermore, The European Commission's 2022 Ethical Guidelines on AI in Education emphasizes that AI systems should function as decision support tools rather than decision makers. If teachers treat AI outputs as draft or suggestions that require human verification, professional autonomy is preserved. Moreover, adapting to new technologies has always been part of professional evaluation. When digital grade books are introduced, some fear loss of control. However, teachers retain authority because they remain accountable for final decisions. Therefore, AI does not automatically erode professional authority. It may reshape certain tasks, but the core elements of teaching empathy, judgment, and ethical responsibility remain human.
To conclude our discussion today, allow me to synthesize the key insights that have emerged from this forum. To begin with, our first question asks whether teachers in Malaysia should rely on AI in classroom. Throughout the discussion, it became clear that reliance control be understood as blind dependence. Rather, it must be interpreted as structured and professionally supervised integration. On the one hand, research from the OECD and the McKinsey highlight the potential of AI to reduce repetitive workload and support personalized learning. In large Malaysian classrooms, this support could increase instructional preparedness. Similarly, studies from UKM indicate that digital tools can enhance self-directed learning when implemented systematically. On the other hand, UNESCO 2021 recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence remind us that human agency must remain central. Scholars such as Selwick and Holmes caution that over-automation may subtly reshape professional practice. Therefore, the answer to our first question is conditional. Yes, teachers may rely on AI. However, such reliance must be guided by training, governance, and clear ethical boundaries. Moving to our second question, we examine whether AI could harm student learning. This dimension requires deeper reflection because learning is not merely about efficiency. It involves effort, perseverance, and critical engagement. Sir Ashraf highlighted that AI may encourage cognitive dependency if students rely on instant answers than engaging in productive struggle. UNESCO 2023 guidance similarly warns that AI literacy is essential to prevent passive consumption. Furthermore, the OC study suggests that technology integration without ethical planning may influence student discipline and learning attitudes. This raises concern about long-term learning habit. However, Sir Adam reminds us that AI can also strengthen learning under structured design. Larkin described AI as an intelligent tutor capable of adapting feedback to individual needs. The OECD suggests that AI can enhance metacognition when students compare their reasoning with AI outputs. Thus, AI does inherently harm students. Then the harm emerges when supervision is weak, reflection is absent, and convenience replaces effort. Finally, our third address whether AI could affect the teacher professional role. Teaching is not simply the transmission of information. It is relational, ethical, contextual. UNESCO consistently frames teachers as ethical agents. If AI began to dominate grading or instructional decision, professional autonomy may weaken. However, it was also argued that AI can reduce administrative burden. The theory allowing teachers to invest more time in mentoring and moral guidance. So once again, the impacts depend on boundaries. AI must assist professional judgment, not override it. At this stage, become evident that our debate was never about choosing between technology and humanity. Rather, it was about a balance. AI represents evolution in educational tools. However, evolution must not become erosion. If governance is weak, if training is insufficient, and if ethical literacy is ignored, then enhancement may gradually transform into dependency. Conversely, if AI is integrated responsibly, guided by strong policy frameworks, inclusive infrastructure planning, and continuous professional development, it may serve as a powerful support system. In the Malaysia context, this balance is especially important. Infrastructure disparities, as highlighted by unanimous research, remind us that technology adoption must be equitable. AI integration without infrastructure readiness risks widening educational gaps. Therefore, policy coherence is essential. AI adoption must move alongside teacher training, digital ethics education, and infrastructural investment. As we reflect on this discussion, one central idea remains clear. AI is a tool, it is not an educator. Teachers remain the moral and intellectual anchor of the classroom. Students must remain active thinkers, not passive recipients. In conclusion, the question is not whether AI should exist in Malaysian classroom, It already does. The real question is whether we, as educators and policymakers, possess the wisdom to integrate it responsibly. If we treat AI as replacement for professional judgment, we risk erosion. We treat AI as a structured support system under human authority. We enable the evolution. Therefore, the future of AI immersion education will not be determined by algorithm alone. It will be determined by the strength of our ethical framework, our governance system, and our commitment to preserving the human core of teaching. With that, I would like to thank both for our panelists, Sir Adam and Sir Ashraf, for their thoughtful insight, and all of you for your attention and engagement. May this discussion encourage us not only to adopt technology wisely, but to lead it with the integrity. Thank you. And